Hi everybody, guess what? Bought another tent. I'm actually a bit late to the party on this one. I actually bought it last week, to be honest. It's a F10 Nexus 2. So Vango F10 claim, I think, about 1.7 kilograms trail weight. But let's go for the actual true weight. So this is with tags removed, pretty much everything you don't need and just what you would need to take out in the field with you. I make that about 1.9 kilograms. And it comes in one of these nice wee, what I would call a burrito bag, or just a bag that's easier to get into. So it's a side opening, like so. So yeah, you've basically got your inner tent, your outer tent. It's a double skin. It can be pitched all together. Powerlight Nexus UL2. So there's two poles, colour coded so you know which sleeve to put them in, and it's kind of semi self-standing. These are basically like DAC copies. Excuse the mud on them because it's obviously been pitched already, but it's just like a typical DAC V-peg, about 6 inches long. And the good thing is they've added tyres to it, which is a nice little detail. And they've also included a wee repair kit, which is nice because you don't get that in a lot of even more expensive tents. It comes with a pole repair tube and just some patches for the different types of fabric. This fly sheet one is adhesive, so you could just cut that and stick that straight on. Comes with multi-language instruction sheet on how to pitch it. I've cut it out, as I said before. That's quite a lot of weight in its own right, so we can dump that. It's fairly low profile. You can see it's 95 high internally, so that's quite low. But what I do like about it is the width, 130 wide, and it requires just 10 pegs. The fly sheet is a 3000mm hydrostatic head. The ground sheet is 70D nylon and 6000 hydrostatic, which is pretty respectable for Scottish or UK conditions or European conditions. Trail weight, they say 1.7. I would say you're probably going to be carrying 1.9 realistically, and confirmed that it's 7001 T6 alloy poles. So because I've already pitched it, I want to show you one wee mod that I've already done to this tent, and you probably want to do it yourself. The inner at the corners has its own bungee cords, which you're meant to pull and put over the peg, which is frankly a pain in the backside. So what I've done is I've taken the original bungee cord, fed it through the strong tie-out loop at the corner of the fly sheet, then put a knot in that, and that means that the inner is now captive to the fly sheet all the time. If you wanted to dry the inner out and remove it, you can still undo that knot quite quickly. So you can see with its fairly generous inner width, plus 2 vestibules, it's quite a size. For the weights, you're getting quite a lot of room, I have to say. The poles are just kind of generic 7001 aluminium. You can always tell by these little rivet marks there to hold the inner part in. And it's colour coded, as I said before, so this I think is the centre pole. So you can see it's got a blue colour coded sleeve to match the blue of the pole. And there's plenty of room in the sleeve, so it runs quite freely. There's actually a break in the sleeve at the crossover point. I don't know if it was maybe just easier to manufacture it that way and that's why they've done it. But it means you've got to be just a wee bit careful when you come to feed in the blue pole through into the next section. It just fits into that. Straight through the middle, again colour coded. It's got a brown sleeve indicator and a brown pole section. So with the two poles in now, you can see it's kind of self-standing. It just needs the corners pegged out. It's, even without the guy lines, it seems quite stable. Just show you around the general shape of it. You can see the width. That's pretty impressively wide. And we'll just get these end guys and then the two side guys put out. I'll show you just a wee tip on the end guy as well actually. The tent comes out the packet. It comes with a loop already tied into it as if you're meant to peg it. But if you've seen is it Ben's video, Daily Outdoors as well, if you watch his video you'll see it. There's a problem, this loop doesn't seem to be in the right position. So I've untied it, and then all I'm going to do is just twist the peg to the correct position and peg it like so. The little line adjuster is normal. Yeah, so really simple to put up actually. I'm quite impressed by just the simplicity of it, the lack of pegs required. You don't even need the full 10, you could probably take the 2 out from the doors because they just stand perfectly anyway. It's got reflective detailing on the vent as well, and reflective markers in the guy. I think these all seem pretty chunky. And you've got 2 doors and 2 vents. Important to say that this has got a stiffener in it, like a plastic rod, and it has midgie mesh inside. So apparently I think this is what they call the 4 shear walls. This is one of them. So you've got these triangulated sections, but because there is a pole running down it with a curved piece here, this will just not collapse in the same way you would get, for instance, on an MSR, Hubba or Access series, where it's much more curved and can easily collapse in. You've got a solid pole running all the way down, which should resist any wind collapsing the tent, again partly because of this joint at the corner here too. Drum tight pitch about it. Double velcro on the doors. One good thing, double zipped. You know how I hate single way zips, so you'll be able to vent and look out and cook inside much more easily and more safely. There's a little buckle on both sides to stop zip creep. I do think it's secure enough, but I would have liked to have seen elastic used for the tie back on the door. I just think it's always a wee bit more secure, holds the door more tightly, and it's less likely to get undone in the wind. Another wee tip for you is when you come to install the inner the first time, when the tent arrives, the inner is not attached. Be very careful how you attach the doors. Make sure that the stow pockets are on the sides away from the door zip, if you know what I mean. I actually put the inner in the wrong way around the first time, and I think a couple of other YouTubers did the same. So your door should stash away behind the vestibule and not at the open end. You probably get some idea of the low sit-up height in this. I don't find it uncomfortable, to be fair, so far, although I haven't slept in it yet. But it's 95 centimetres internally at the highest point, drops a wee bit towards the door on either side. One of the tips I did was, if you look at the central elastics that attach it to the fly sheet, I tightened the elastic up to pull the roof up slightly and tension more of the inner, because it can look a wee bit saggy. The door itself stashes into its own pocket there, and when you've got the door shut, I guess you can use that as an extra storage pocket. It has storage pockets sewn at either end. As you put anything heavy in there, it's going to drag the inner down, it's going to kind of fall slightly. So just kind of lightweight stuff, maybe some clothing or whatever. You don't want to put anything too heavy in there. Right above the door on both sides there is double pockets here, which will be handy just for like your phone. Probably a head torch would be the most obvious thing. You can tuck it in there and just project some light. A drying line, which doesn't come as standard, so I've just added that myself, but there are the 3 loops to attach it, and then across the other side. The tray ground sheet feels pretty good. It's a nice mix of lightweightness but durability, so it's somewhere in between, all taped, obviously taped at the corners, so I don't see any problem with leaks in there. I had the tent out for 24 hours in rain. Not the heaviest, but some thundery rain, some drizzle for a few hours. Absolutely no leaks I could detect, and because it's polyurethane coated on the inside, it's all taped. Even the badge is taped. So despite the lack of guy lines on the outside, which might worry you a wee bit, it does come with the internal guying system. Vango's patented TBS system, which I think in this case is called TXS, and I looked it up and I thought, why did they change the name of it? And apparently it's to do with the fact that it crosses over. But when I actually checked physically the tent, the straps and the buckle, that doesn't cross over. So why they've got it renamed as TXS, I don't know. It's a tried and trusted design, and it does definitely firm up the whole main hoop and make it stronger. So I've got a lot of faith that'll work. It goes through a Velcro pocket in the doors, which is a wee bit of a faff, so you wouldn't want them connected unless it is really windy, and preferably probably not until you sleep. But you can remove that, put it through the door, tuck it out the way. The one wee thing I would say, one wee detail that's missing is on other Force 10 tents I've had, these tuck away into their own pockets somewhere near the bottom of the pole section. But for some reason on the Nexus, they don't have a pocket for it. It's minor, but it probably just means they'll get covered in mud and you'll stand on them. And so you can see the vestibule is pretty shallow at 35 or whatever it was centimetres deep, 30 centimetres. About the size of a size 8 shoe at its highest point. Or its widest point, I should say. But what you can do is, if I move this out of the way, you'll see there is a little buckle here, a toggle. It's just a toggle and loop system. Undo that, and you can then, let me tilt this down, pull the inner well out the way for cooking. What we'll probably do is pop our packs underneath our sleeping mats, and that means we're not storing rucksacks anywhere, and we'll just have our bare essentials and cooking kit along the side. For two people getting out in the night for a pee or whatever, or just general access, you've each got your own door, you've each got your own vestibule. It's totally mirrored. If I had to describe this tent as a car, I'd probably call it a Volkswagen Golf. It's kind of mid-market, it's not expensive and it's not that cheap, but it's very well made, it's been thought about. The design has evolved over years, I think. So although the Nexus is a new name, it's somewhere between, I guess, like a Helm 2, maybe, similar, from Wild Country, and also a kind of wider Helium UL2, or the Xenon, something very similar. But it does seem pretty wind stable, yeah, so we'll get it out this weekend. I'll try it with my wife. But yeah, it's definitely got the width. The height, as I say, is limited, so be aware that it is a low profile but wide tent. But as a solo tent, fantastic, a lot of room. And as a two-person tent, enough room. And at its weight and its very small pack size, I think it's a very attractive proposition. I picked it up at Taizo's online, which I don't think is available any longer, but they were selling it for 240. It seems to have sold out already. The going rate seems to be about 300. There is another site that's selling it for 269 at the moment, so you'd probably grab one there if you fancy trying it. But yeah, so far I'm pretty impressed with this. It's not, having come from a North tent, it's not full-on winter majorly strong, or heavy-duty materials. But it's meant to be lightweight. It's a good, probably 4-season backpacking tent, 3-season mountain tent within reason. It remains to be seen how well it'll cope with the weather, with the wind. I think in the right direction it'll be very good. But possibly these big panels with a crosswind, I imagine would struggle beyond a certain speed. But that's it. So thank you for watching. I hope it's just a helpful little short video to show you around the thing. And if you have any questions, drop me a line as usual below. I'll follow this up with a wee trip video and we will see how we get on with it. But hopefully it's a keeper for the summer. Thanks for watching. Cheers.